review a little before we get deep into something that's called difference quotients. Given this function, x squared plus 5x plus 2, how would you find f of 4? Well, all we're doing here is evaluating the function. So wherever you see an x, you're going to replace it with a 4. So instead of x squared, we will have 4 squared, yes, plus 5 times 4 plus 2. That will give us 16 plus 20 plus 2. That will give us 36 plus 2, which is 38. So -2, now be careful when you have negatives. That's when you definitely need to put your input value in parentheses when you have a negative, because a -2 squared and a parenthesis -2 close parenthesis squared are two different things. Will give you two different answers. So -2 squared with the parentheses will actually give you a positive 4 instead of a -4. Then you have 5 times -2, which is -10, plus 2. That's -6 plus 2, which is -4. What about m? My point here is all we're doing is replacing the x's with m's. So m squared plus 5m plus 2. What about Lawson? Lawson squared plus 5 times Lawson plus 2. What about Alabama? Alabama squared plus 5 times Alabama plus 2. What about f of theta? That would be theta squared plus 5 times theta plus 2. What about delta? Delta squared plus 5 delta plus 2. Those are Greek letters, by the way. And then we get to something that looks a little bit different. It throws most students off. So if you can get this down, this next one down, you are in good shape. So again, if I'm going to rewrite the original function, f of x equals x squared plus 5x plus 2 right above it. If we are evaluating the function at x plus h, all that means is we're replacing that entire h, well, the entire x with x plus h. This entire x with x plus h. So we have x plus h squared instead of x squared. All of it is being squared plus 5 times x plus h plus 2. And then, of course, we can write this all out. That's x plus h times another x plus h plus 5x plus 5h plus 2. And then you can FOIL that out, which is x squared plus xh plus another xh plus h squared plus 5x plus 5h plus 2. And then we have some like terms here that we need to put together. So that's x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus 5x plus 5h plus 2. So that's a little review before we get into difference quotient. So hopefully you understood this one. This is the big one, because this is what you're going to see. That piece is in the formula for difference quotient. This is the formula right here. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. So if you were asked to find or determine the difference quotient for some formula function, this is the formula. A common expression from calculus, and it is a concept really that's called a derivative in calculus, but the introduction to it is called the difference quotient. All right, so we have this formula. here that we're going to use anytime you are asked to find the difference quotient. So let's say that you are given this function here. Well, we need to first, to find the difference quotient, is to find this part. What is this part if our function is x squared plus 5? So again, that means replace all of the x's. It does not change with x plus h. All right. So that would be x plus h squared plus 5. So I'm just plugging it into that. X plus h instead of x. Wherever you see the pink x's, we're going to put x plus h. So you can see this side is on this side, and all of this side is on this side. All right, so that's what f of x plus h is. Now, f of x, we already know. We already know what f of x is. All right, because that is always given to us. This is f of x. That's f of x. So we don't have to compute anything for f of x. We just plug it into our formula. So we got what we needed. Now we're going to put it all together. Here's the formula. We're going to write down what f of x plus h is. We said it was x plus h squared plus 5. X plus h squared plus 5. Right? There you go. We just worked that out. Then the formula says minus, I'm going to put the minus there, f of x. Now, what is f of x? F of x is x squared plus 5. So that is not one term. That's 2. So whenever that happens, you need to put a parenthesis. All right, so the original f of x is here. X squared plus 5. So we're going to replace the f of x with what is equal to x squared plus 5. And then you always just put it over the h. You just carry the h over. And then we're going to simplify this, and we are done. So what is x plus h squared? Well, x plus h. Here we go again. We did this before, but let's do it again. X plus h times x plus h plus 5 minus, we're going to distribute here. That becomes negative x squared minus 5 over h. All right, let's go over here. Well, no, I need a little bit more space. So let's go down here. Let's FOIL that out. X squared plus xh plus xh plus h squared plus 5 minus x squared minus 5. Here's the fun part. We get to add our like terms and start canceling things out. So if we add our like terms, we get x squared plus 2xh plus h squared plus 5 minus x squared minus 5. So what do you see over h? Canceling out here. Let's cancel out these 5's, right? All right, what about those x squares? Cancel out the x squares. All right, so now we are left with 2xh plus h squared over h. Now, can we simplify this further? Yes, because all terms in the numerator, look at it, all terms have an h in it. So this is when I advise you to factor out the h from the numerator. You get 2x plus h, then over h. And then we can cancel out the h's. So the final answer is 2x plus h. So that is the difference quotient for the function x squared plus 5. Okay, now we're going to move on to this one. Find the difference quotient. Again, this is the formula. Here is the formula that we are going to follow like a map. All right, we need to figure out what f of x plus h is. Right, that's the hardest part. So let's work on that. If f of x is x squared minus x plus 1, then how do you find f of x plus h? You evaluate the function at x plus h, meaning plug it in, meaning replace the x with x plus h, meaning substitute the x for x plus h. All right, so instead of an x squared, we are going to put x plus h squared minus x plus h plus 1. So I'm just following this part right here. And instead of an x, we're putting x plus h. All right, we got what we needed for f of x plus h. Then we're going to go ahead and drop it down here. X plus h squared minus x plus h plus 1. Then, of course, there's a minus in this formula, minus. Now we need to put f of x over here. What is f of x? F of x is always given to us. It's right here. So f of x is x squared minus x plus 1. What do we need around that? We need a parenthesis. X squared minus x plus 1 all over h. Now, we got to do a lot of multiplying now before we get to the fun part. So here we go. Now this part we should probably memorize by now. But it's x plus h times x plus h, right? And then we ended up getting x squared plus 2xh plus h squared the last time. Then we're going to distribute minus x minus h plus 1. Then we're going to distribute again. Minus x squared plus x minus 1 all over h. So this should be the fun part. Do you see anything canceling? Let's cancel the ones. Right, that's 1 minus 1. Let's cancel the x's. Right, negative x plus x. Let's cancel the x squareds. All right, so what are we left with here? It looks like we are left with 2xh plus h squared minus h over h. Can we simplify this? Yes, because notice that there's an h in the numerator for every term. If it was only 2 of the 3 terms, we couldn't do anything. But since it's all 3 terms, we can factor out that h. That's our GCF. H times 2x plus h minus 1 divided by h. And here we get to cancel out our h's, leaving us with the final answer of 2x plus h minus 1. This is how you compute the difference quotient.